SharkyBreath.
He plays video games.
Hello, and welcome back to Disco Elysium. I got part of the way through exploring this island, and then decided to take a nap, because, apparently my wound hurt, and that turned out to be a great decision, and nothing went wrong from it. Everything is fine. We're all fine here? I don't know what you're talking about. Okay, so let's actually have a look at this stuff now that I can see properly because I'm awake. All right, so we got some cabinets. I don't know what I was trying to say. What's this? This great blast door must weigh over 10 tons. Rust peels off it. So we just have to wait, couple dozen more years. Should take care of it. Then we can get through there, unless it's openable. I don't know. What's this? Money and drugs. Okay, I'll take them, I suppose. And what do we have here? More drugs? Okay. Great. Wonder why they left all this magnesium around here. 9+. I'm above the limit that it displays. That's good to know. Can I open this door?
You see a small metal door nested inside a larger one. A heavy steel blast door. There is a conventional keyhole above the handle. It's very small.
A very small conventional keyhole, you say? Well, I don't think I actually have any relevant keys, do I? I can't check my equipment because I'm in the middle of a conversation. Blah, blah, blah. What's on the other side? How do we open this lever? What's on the other side?
Another part of the island, probably. The lock looks like it could still be usable.
The lieutenant looks into the keyhole. Okay, how do we open this?
Maybe this is one of the doors we don't open?
No, I refuse. He looks at the door, then at its bigger brother, then at the lock.
He's right. It would be better to open its big brother. A powerful engine hangs under the ceiling. It must control the blast door.
You're right. We opened the big one. Do you see controls anywhere? I find us not opening it highly unlikely. Sure, you're right. We won't have to open it. Well, interfacing thinks it is onto something. Big one?
I think there's a console just southeast. Let's look around. Getting the blast door open seems like the best plan.
He shuffles his feet to stay warm. Okay. Keys. Yeah, I suppose it would make sense that I wouldn't have any keys that would be relevant to this door anyway. And if I did have one, probably there would have been a conversation option to bring it up or something like that, What's this over here? That's where I came into the room. That's the door that didn't exist during my dream. Okay. And we haven't checked out the southeast corner of the room yet. Well, not in waking life. We have a console. That's probably the controls for the blast door. We have something in the floor here. This hatch is jammed shut. Okay. Something's going on with the stairs. Let's have a look at it. Oh, there's drugs and money in the stairs. Perhaps under the stair. They were squirreled away underneath it. That would seem to make sense. That would seem to make more sense than that they were inside the stair somehow. Like it just had some sort of a cubbyhole ground into the plank somehow. I wonder if I was supposed to take a lot more morale damage from that dream than I actually did, I did only narrowly avoid consequences from pain threshold checks a couple times in a row, honestly, and I didn't take the big, stupid, this is going to hurt options, which I hope everyone's okay with that. It's just things that were so obviously self-destructive, I just don't feel like... I know there's more content there that I could have checked out, but that... In this scenario, it seems like it's hard to make an argument that it's worthwhile to just sort of toy with Harry that way. I don't know. A firing slit. You can't see inside. That would seem to be the point. It's also way higher up off the ground than my head allows me to look. Okay. So this is where I walked myself into the ocean last night, despite having never actually been out here. So that's pretty neat. What's this? It must have been a direct hit to take out such a huge chunk. I assume you're correct, yes. I assume you're right, some kind of artillery fire. Back during the whoops, hello. The distant sound of cargo ships. Signal horns echo on the water. Okay, that all seems reasonable. Sorry, I'm trying to identify this music. I don't know that I've heard this before. Whoop. The reeds sway strangely. No, it's nothing. Still looking for that phasmid, huh? Guess that tracks. I spent enough time on it in the last few days that it would make sense that it would still be present on the mind whenever I see reeds blowing in the wind. Oh, didn't I just establish that running doesn't actually hurt me? Maybe I should do more of that. Maybe I should. Yes? The ice cracks under your feet. Be careful not to fall through. Okay. Maybe I shouldn't go stand out here then? I have a suspicion if it was actually that dangerous, probably Kim would notice as well and be like, hey, so maybe we shouldn't do this thing? But maybe I shouldn't rely entirely on Kim for my survival. Just abandon my survival instincts and leave them all entirely to him. I don't think he'd appreciate that too much. Of course, it is basically how I've come this far. What's this? The pain in your pelvis makes you wince, then you continue. Okay. I don't know if that was related to me running or... I don't know. What's this? The inside of the fortress. You make out the console and the blast door. Oh, right, because there's just a giant hole in it. Makes sense. Makes perfect sense. So we got stairs up and we got a path out to the east. Maybe I should check out the east path first. Oh, this is the chain. This is where I walked into the ocean. Okay, let's look at the chain. The winch is broken. Rust has eaten what remains of the chain. Yeah, that does appear to be the case, so I guess this isn't keeping any, invaders out now.
A strange feeling looking at the water. Maybe you should just wander off into the sea. Leave it all and walk in.
I was supposed to have this before the dream, wasn't I? Why? But it's cold. Raise your sight. Shake your head. Well, why, though?
Perhaps there's someone there, under the water, waiting for you.
Continue.
Where it has always been.
Where it has always been. I guess... if I have that dream that I had last night 3 times a week whenever I get it, then I suppose after enough years of that, it would start to feel like it had always been that way. Is that what you're talking about? Maybe I should just hit continue and find out?
In front of the video rental, on the corner, at the crossing.
That is what you're talking about.
Smelling of tutti frutti and betrayal.
Sure, I'm making a lot of successes here. Good for me.
Maybe. You know it's going to hurt.
It did. It didn't hurt as much as I would have expected. But that's another success. It seems like having 10 in pain threshold is a good place to be. A lot of these basic checks seem to barely squeak by. But it's cold.
Yes, cold and still. But love is warm, like the inside of her mouth.
It's been more than 10 years, man. Yes, please, or no.
Yes.
You're very stubborn on this one, huh?
No. We're not starting with that. Not now. Not this time. This thought is over.
By which you mean you don't want me to raise my sight, but I'm going to.
In the still mirror of the bay, you see Martinez, reflected. Tall edifices of ruins reach into the water, like shimmering towers. And the shacks too. Pine trees and motor lorries, upside down.
I feel like there's just one of those, but... oh, right, upside down. Reflected in the water. Didn't make the connection. Continue.
Islets and posts, like stepping stones, lead into the water in front of you. Go. Step in. It's been too long.
Inland Empire. You're a really complicated brain part, you know that? I suppose it is my imagination. If it wasn't for my robust Inland Empire, I probably wouldn't be having this dream problem that apparently I've been having since my marriage broke up. Anyway, shake your head. I don't think it's going to let me walk into the ocean. And it wouldn't be a good idea even if I could. I did try just now. I was curious. Sorry, Kim. Right, this. I have a task. Open the blast door. The large blast door blocks your path forward. You have to get it open. Maybe from the console, if there's a button. There might be. I'll check that out in a minute. 4 skill points again, huh? Okay, that's all right. How's that one thought coming along? 19%. I suppose I'm mostly doing exploring rather than actual conversation, and I suspect that it did not advance while I was asleep for that hour, you know? I haven't actually done the mental math, but I feel like when I'm asleep, normally my thoughts do not progress. Then again, I was dreaming the entire time this time. Whoop. The depot that supplied this chain is long gone from the coast. Presumably, yes. Bed, gas, table? Not sure. Let's just get in there, have a look around. What's this? A weathered artillery map showing coordinates in the Bay of Revachol. And this? An old medicine cabinet, newly stocked with Druamine. I like Druamine. It's very convenient. Also 20 cents. Yeah. What's in here? Lum fuel canister worth 48 real and 86 hundredths of a real. I don't actually know what. Is it cents? Take all. What's the deal with that? Why would I need that? To gather the dreck from out front and put it in the generator later on when I need to open the blast door. That is why I would need that. There's still some fuel in this battered canister, a liter or two. The metal looks decades old. The logo of the automotive manufacturer Lum has faded on the side. So it has. That's very valuable also. I don't know why I would need that much money at this point. Another bed.
There's a rain-soaked mattress on a concrete slab, only half covered by the crumbling roof. At the head of it, double embrasures, firing slits like two eyes in the wall.
They do kind of look like eyes in the wall. And then it's got this sort of a jagged Homestar mouth over here. Continue.
B triple prime. This looks like a good place to shoot from.
The lieutenant lowers his voice, stepping closer with his hand on his gun. B triple prime. This is where the firing took place from, we think. Well, let's inspect it, I guess. Inspect the mattress.
A single-person mattress, modern, civilian use. Brand name, Marjorie. There's a fuel stain on the cover, along with cigarette burns.
So perhaps our killer is a smoker?
And an empty can of beans on the ground next to it, filled to the brim with cigarette butts.
Pick one out of the can, back off. Wait a second. This feels like if I pick one out of the can, I might get clues, but I might also just be overwhelmingly driven to smoke. It's not the end of the world if I do. It's not like... I have a whole thought about quitting alcohol, but I don't have any such thing about cigarettes, so... But... Well, let's just see if this is a clue or if this is an electrochemistry thing. We'll find out soon enough, I guess.
The silhouette of a tobacco picker adorns the paper filter. The brand, Tio Moteri.
Tio Moteri. Like the ones we found at Land's End, remember? Someone's been smoking Tio Moteri cigarettes. Not a lot of that around. That does... Yeah, I do recall that being an unusual thing. Let's go ahead and recall the past.
I may have been wrong when I said it wasn't important. This means the same person could have visited both locations.
Does seem likely. He stares into the can for a second. Did I? I did. Sorry, I couldn't remember if I read the thing in the middle of the last thing Kim said, which is what I was checking. I did. Continue.
I didn't see any signs of smoking inside, though. If people live there, they keep it tidy. This here may also be a smoking spot.
A smoking spot. Maybe they only smoke after they kill someone. Inspect the wall.
There's a firing slit in the wall in front of you, like a little window.
Touch the concrete first. Look through the hole in the concrete. Touch it first.
Quite old and grimy, from years without cleaning by anything other than the rain.
Well, let's have a look through the hole.
The springs screech as you lean on the mattress and crane your neck to look out.
Continue.
Trepidation. A tingling feeling in your stomach.
What am I afraid of? Continue.
A small piece of Martinez coastline opens up in the square in front of you, like a tiny landscape painting. 1 kilometer across the water. The ruins look familiar.
Okay. So we're looking through this as if we were the sniper. Based on my location, I'm guessing that looking to the left is going to be what the sniper actually saw. Based on the angle of this and the angle of the cord that why? Why can I never remember her name? The disco dancer, the one who fled. She set up that cord. It was about this angle, but well, let's just do them from top to bottom. 'Cause going to the bottom first is dangerous in this game.
A towering skyscraper, its top floors shaved off by artillery fire. Capeside apartments. Rue de Saint-Gislain, 33A and 33B.
Oh, so it's actually the one on the right then, I guess.
The red chimney and collapsed back of the 4-story tenement in front of the whirling in rags. Rue de Saint-Gislain, 10. The doomed commercial area.
And between the two...
The box-shaped silhouette of the whirling in rags. Its sloped roof, a tiny fleck of light catches your eye on the rooftop. Sunlight reflecting off the upstairs window of Clausia's room.
And there we go. And thank you for mentioning Clausia's name, because for some reason it will not stick in my mind, no matter what. Of all the characters in this game, I guess it makes sense that Clausia's is the name that you wouldn't be able to hold on to mentally. She's a slippery one. Motherfucker. There it is. I can't be 100% certain, but I'm going with there it is.
Do you have a line of sight to the window?
Directly. Continue.
More than that.
Came with a pair of binoculars. I would be able to see inside the room. Yes, there's an opening between 33 and 10. I can see to the roof.
A pair of binoculars? Or a scope of a rifle? You'd be prone, lying on a mattress, barrel resting on the embrasure.
He points to the makeshift bed. Continue.
I think we have it. The origin of the shot. This is the sniper's nest.
He pats you on the back. 3 small pats in a row.
Affirmative.
Affirmative. Finally, better late than never. Why didn't we come here before? Booyah, master cop work. Would be nice if it had been a bit sooner, but the thing is, we know that whoever was here was probably the sniper, but we don't know who was here. Is the thing about it. Unless, wait. Wait! The cigarettes in Land's End. No, Land's End. I was thinking of the end of the boardwalk where we found Billy's husband dead. I was thinking for a second that he was the one who smoked those cigarettes. In which case, maybe he was the sniper, in which case, maybe he's already gone. Which is certainly a possibility. But I shouldn't get ahead of myself. Well, it does feel nice to, give ourselves credit every now and again. It does feel a little bit late. It's hard to be self-congratulatory under the circumstances. I'm going better late than never.
Nothing pointed here. Many leads pointed elsewhere.
He nods. 7 people are dead. You're right, but 7 people are dead. This is also one of those situations where wallowing in it isn't necessarily going to do us any good. But if I take morale damage, I have some drugs for that. The rifleman must not be dead, huh? Because the math didn't make sense to me before. If all 3 of the mercenaries were dead, then there were 5 Hardys who died. That should be 8, which means the rifleman's alive. Anyway.
Don't beat yourself up, officer. We did not put guns in their hands or get them drunk.
I even tried to anti-drunk them, what with the Borscht situation. He looks north over the fortification, then adds, hang on, I gotta take drugs. Ha ha ha, continue.
The lieutenant pauses. Regret comes over him.
We will make up for it. Here. I feel it.
I sure hope so. Could the shooter still be here?
Where?
He looks behind his back. In Martinez, on this island. Right here. Point at the mattress. Am I back to thinking that I did it? I don't think that's realistic. I didn't show up in town before... until the death had already happened, right? I think we're back to that narcissism angle that Kim warned me about not going into before. It's not going to always revolve around me. We're just trying to solve the... Anyway, on this island.
He does not answer, just nods. With his back hunched, he looks around once more and says,
We should move now.
Right. Turn away. Okay. So Kim also suspects that the shooter might still be here. Fair. Okay. Whoa, hang on. What? Hey, hang on! Show it again. There it is. You feel eyes on your back. Someone's watching, but you can't say where. They are still here. Okay. And they know we just found their sniper nest. That smells like another confrontation is brewing, doesn't it? Oh boy, okay. Let's get back in there and get that blast door open, I guess. I don't know what else we could do. Alright. Yes? Water rushes below. Far down below. Far down below? I didn't feel like we were that high up above the water level. I guess this must be a shaft that leads straight down to the water beneath. Is the center of the island hollow, then?
Green paint flicks off the monoblock aluminium cabinet. There are rows of switches on the front panel, a frequency band, and even a keyboard.
Run your fingers across the keyboard. What is this, then, Leave?
The keys rattle like teeth. This keyboard hasn't been functional in decades.
Okay, well, let's... Feld Insular Console. Okay.
The console of an anti-computation device. The generator upstairs, with wires coming out. They terminate here.
The lieutenant points to the wires running into the machine. Okay. Could this open the blast door?
Possibly. Urgence, ouvert, allumé, radiodiffusé. It sounds like this device was used to control the electronics here. Maybe it still does.
He inspects the dials. Okay. I don't... I don't know what this says. I might just translate it myself, unless this thing right here tells me what that says.
This device was used to control the electronics in the room. It could open doors, control lights, function as a radio computer.
I see. Okay. Maybe this is an emergency exit type of thing? This is presumably the lights, and then the radio computer. Okay. Turn emergency open. Yeah, that's okay. It says right here. Emergency open, light interior, radio diffuser, I guess. It doesn't matter if I mess with them now. It's not going to work because it's not powered.
We need to restore power before using this, officer. The generator, it didn't look like there was fuel in it.
Nothing happens. Kim looks upstairs. Continue.
We should look around outside. There are barrels all over. Maybe one of them still has something in it.
He looks into the dim light to his right.
The boat engine.
Or we could get some from the boat engine. Failing that, we could go back to the mainland and get some from Not in Agreement. If we get it from the boat engine, isn't that going to prevent us from getting off the island? Interfacing seems proud of itself, but... Well, let's at least float the idea. If Kim thinks it's stupid, then we probably won't do it.
But officer, then we would have to swim back to the mainland. Let's just look around, okay?
Yeah, good plan. He looks you in the eye.
The consul stands by, mutely.
Okay.
Urgence, ouvert, reads a dial key. Allumé reads another. The frequency band says, radio diffuser.
It's interesting that your pronunciation seemed to be fairly careful on these, and then this one felt different. I don't know, the radio diffuse. It didn't quite... Anyway, what happens if I keep messing with the dials? Does Kim get disgusted with me?
Nothing happens. The dial slides under the glass, silently. You make out defunct stations on the UKV frequency. The words, Feld Insular, are written on the band.
Okay.
Insular. This is an off-air radio computer, I believe, used for military communications.
The lieutenant leans in to inspect the cursive writing, okay?
It's an air-gapped system, an off-air military model. Its circuits are nearly impossible to bend, i.e., it cannot be remote-controlled.
I see. Okay. So it's built based around security, I take it. All right. Alright, that all seems reasonable. Let me inspect the generator and make sure I can't just use the fuel that I found out back in order to get this thing going. It has a liter or two of fuel in it, right?
This old cylindrical generator waits with its fuel cap open. Makeshift electrical wiring runs out of its side and across the floor.
Well, we got pour fuel into the tank as an option. That seems pretty straightforward. But before that, I want to step out front and see if there's any necessity to inspect the goop that was dripping. The sort of crude form of... Yeah, this. Inspect. This barrel has run empty. There's almost nothing inside. Not enough fuel. You'll have to look elsewhere. Okay, well, I was just curious, you know. We're not going to defuel the boat. That would, as Kim pointed out, be stupid. So let's just go ahead and use the tank I found. Perhaps I was supposed to inspect that first and then go out back and look around, and then when I found it, we probably would have been like, hey, fuel, now we can do the thing. But, regrettably, I was metagaming, and so I didn't inspect it immediately. The console, I mean. All right, pour fuel into the tank.
The lieutenant assists you, holding the canister up to the fuel tank as you tilt. Dark brown, viscous fluid pours out, and the room fills with a chemical smell.
I sure hope it can run on this stuff. Continue.
There's a red starter switch on the side of the cylinder and a start rope on the other side. The lieutenant flicks the switch.
Seems I'm on rope duty then. Pull that rope.
The recoil start wakes the old generator up. The machine sputters like an old warhorse before settling down to a rattle.
Well, that's certainly subtle. I'm sure nobody will notice that we're messing with this.
That should do it.
That should do it. All right, leave. All right. Well, that being accomplished, let's get back down to the console. Mess with the things that aren't the door first, I think. Because whatever person may or may not still be here, they're probably on the other side of that door since they weren't over here. They could also be under there. But if I don't open it, they can't get out and we can't get in, so let's mess with the other stuff first.
A dim golden glow animates the console. Faint, like a ghost light. Urgence ouvert reads one dial key. Allumer reads another.
Continue.
It's on. Turn emergency open.
Continue.
Automatic boot.
So the only thing that's lit up here is emergency open. Automatic boot? Oh, this thing automatically turned on because of the generator. I see. Sure, that makes sense. Lights?
The lighting in the room turns on with a sizzle. A dim, ambient orange.
Okay, is that an okay thing for me to do? I probably could put away the flashlight at this point. Can I mess with the radio?
The dial slides under the dusty.
Insular. This is...
It's
exactly
an
the same.
air-gapped system. An off-air military mod.
Okay. Hang on. What do we want to hold instead of my flashlight? I guess we'll do the multi-tool for now. There won't be lights out there, but there should be sun out there, so
A dim
it's probably
golden
fine.
glow.
Turn
animates
emergency
the
open.
The blast door opens with a series of clicks. A shaft of light appears, then widens as the light shines in.
Let's just hope somebody isn't waiting out there with that rifle. Let's just really hope that. Well, that's a big old door we opened. I guess that makes sense. It's this entire framework here. Small blast door. Just relative to other blast doors, I take it. It also not subtle in the least. Everybody who's on this island knows that that just happened. Continue.
After you.
Lieutenant gestures at the opening. Before, outside, when we were walking across the sand, I felt someone watching me. What's there? Point to the door. What if we get into another fight? Let's go leave. I'm gonna mention that I felt someone watching me.
So did I. Not back there, but I felt it since we came here.
Okay. All right. What's there?
I don't know.
Yeah, me neither.
A thin wisp of smoke rises from a charred black fire pit. The wind picks up, then dies down again.
What if we get into another fight?
Don't worry. I have a gun.
He takes out his sidearm, checks the barrel, then holsters it again. I also have a gun.
I know. It was not easy to acquire.
Yeah, you're not wrong about that. Okay, let's go. Gun, then? Gun? Gun o'clock? Okay. Alright. Okay, You know what? As much as I enjoy Inland Empire and Empathy, well, Empathy anyway, Inland Empire is kind of hit or miss for me. The -2 authority here, if we get into another crisis situation and I need to give a command to Kim, I do not want authority to be holding me back. So let's unequip the ledger. I will bring the multi-tool. Maybe switch these. I don't know if it matters. Again, I don't know which is Harry's dominant hand. It may have come up at some point, but I didn't register it. Okay, let's see here. Reaction speed and hand-eye coordination. Hand-eye coordination, I don't have many things that affect it, but I've got a couple things. The Fallen Arrower shirt. If it's ever going to come up, this is it. If it was to never come up, then why does it exist, you know? Presumably it'll matter. Okay. Let me go through my other options here. Hand-eye coordination in the Pinball Maker's Cove. Done. Perception is good. Empathy minus logic. Savoir-faire. Visual calculus over drama. I feel like bearing at least a certain amount of empathy in mind is not a bad thing. Composure in the genes, but instead let's go with the Fallen Pants. Is all the Fallen gear I ever found it's the shoes, the gloves, yeah, let me just, I'm not going to wear this into battle, but let me put on all my Fallen gear at once and see if that does anything. I feel like I tried this once before, but I didn't have the shirt yet, see? Also, do I have Fallen neck or Fallen glasses? I don't think I do, but let me have a look quick. I do not, and this is also probably not what I should be worrying about right now, but let's at least see if I have a thought. I have a thought!
Oh, glorious Falnier, you wear the full set like a true-born hero. The ultimate performance of fun flows in you.
What does that mean exactly? I feel so dynamic. I look so futuristic. It's like I can do anything. Anything! Can I do anything?
You are literally untouchable. A god among mere men.
Is that so? Continue.
Go on. The fucking sunset awaits, Fallen Rider.
And I bet that doesn't actually have any impact on anything, yeah? Probably that has no impact on anything. But I did have a thought. Go me. Not a thought exactly, but like a comment. A mental comment. Anyway, I gotta fix my gear here. Hang on. I think this is good. Inland Empire and Volition. My Volition's pretty good. Do I actually want to consider switching out my neck piece? Pain Threshold versus 2 empathy minus composure. How does that interact with this jacket, by the way? Oh, it's mostly folded up inside it. That seems to make sense. I hadn't considered that would be possible. Plus shivers minus physical instrument. Maybe not right now. No, you think? You know, I think I am going to stick with the Terratorn tie. It may be the domestic banger would be the way to go, but I don't want to give up too much Inland Empire. Because right now I'm at what, 4? Yeah, see, that's not great. That's not great. Okay. Do I want to actually boost my authority? I'm wearing my perception visor, you know, the Froggles, like I always do, but my perception is through the roof at this point. I may not need to. Don't lower your reaction speed or your perception necessarily, but like, do we go with the authority cap? It looks so dopey though. I feel just dopey. No, listen, we're not gonna, I'm gonna wear this because I've always worn it. It should be fine. Hopefully it should be fine. Should I have a sword. It's not sharp. I feel like it would get clunky if I was trying to use my gun, but... Max intimidation? Well, except that that's half-light, and I don't actually have max half-light by any means. Alright. My shivers tell me there's somebody out here. We should be prepared for whatever that means. Okay. I don't know what this is a chunk of. It's got another hatch on it, but presumably it's defunct, whatever it is. Can I even go this way? I cannot. Okay. Is that like an inner tube? That looks like an inner tube. Or an inflatable of some sort. What's this? Small white flowers blossom all around you. Okay, what's this over here? A rubber dinghy. It's deflated. Broken. How is that a dinghy? That's like maybe one of those tubes they use for what do they call it when they drag a tube behind a boat and you sit on the tube? And it's almost like water skiing, but doesn't require you actually to have any balance. Something like that. But it doesn't even have a bottom. It's just like a life preserver, almost. Did someone actually get here using that? Very determined. Either a strong swimmer or just really want their stealth. Hey, that's a man with one of the rifles that was used to kill the mercenary, huh? Do I recognize you? Uh-huh. The air smells sweet and scary somehow. Okay. This is our guy. Pretty much gotta be. Let's try not to get killed, Kim. He's letting me get awfully close.
Wearing tracksuit trousers, leans on the frame stock of his rifle. He gathers a big ball of spit in his mouth.
The deserter. Continue.
Then spits it out into the extinguished fire before him. He raises his black eyes, hooded by creased eyelids, to meet yours.
How long have you been living here, man? Is it just me, or do you have the red nose that I do? Continue.
Unclouded by cataracts, his eyesight is sharp.
It would have to be. Continue.
He's practically tearing up from spite. Hatred got the best of him a long time ago. This man hates everything.
Are you the fire guy? You've retained your eyesight. Did you close the blast door? Nice gun you got there. Sir, I need you to put down that gun so we can talk further. We're with the police. Proceed. I'm with the police. You can keep the gun, but keep it down. Not one move. Proceed. Sorry for disturbing you. Goodbye. I have no reason to believe that he knows anything about what the kid said to him. But he's also not threatening us just yet, so... Are you the fire guy?
The what now? I can't hear you.
He cups his ear. Did you recently tell 2 kids to put out their fire? 2 twins. Nothing. Did you?
I may have. All sorts of little rats have come sniffing around, trying to give up the position.
Trying to give up the position? I don't think they had anything to... They're like 4. Continue.
The position sounds like a hiding place.
I mean, this place looks like a hiding place, so yeah, continue.
Fire guy. Regressive bourgeoisie henchman. Can't even talk like a grown-up.
He shakes his head. I mean, I did get that term from the 4-year-olds, so fair enough, I guess. You've retained your eyesight.
My eyesight? Yes. Helps me see all the shit.
I suppose. He clears his throat. Did you close the blast door?
I did. And you opened it. How?
He breathes out with a wheeze. I fueled the generator, then used the console. How did you know I was coming? I mean, anyone could have told we were coming. I blasted that thing on the boombox the entire way in, but yeah, I may as well answer his question. He's been answering mine. He has no obligation to. I'll answer his too.
I should have burn that console down.
He shakes his head. How did you know I was coming?
Reactionary rock and roll music. Playing on the water.
He gestures north. Yeah, see, continue.
Told you we shouldn't play sad FM.
But you didn't say that, Kim. It was not rock and roll, it was sad FM. It was not reactionary, it was cool. Say nothing. I mean, you technically didn't tell me that we shouldn't play sad FM. I don't know if being vindictive is the thing to do here. But neither of these is going to make any difference, so I'm going to go ahead and squabble with Kim, if you don't mind, sir.
I did.
Did he?
We have entered a world where he said you shouldn't. It is the only world.
Okay, fair enough, Frederick. These seem to be quibbles that I don't know that will matter. It was not reactionary, it was cool. I could barely understand the words due to my problems with lyrics, you know. But aside from Burn Baby Burn and Disco Inferno, and now my brain has gone an entire blank trying to remember the words of that song. It was sort of rock and roll, but it was definitely sad. I don't think he cares what station it was. Do I defend myself sullenly? He's not going to care.
The fascists were right about rock and roll. It is degenerate, hip gyrating, mental illness music.
I suppose it makes sense. We did point out as soon as we started talking to this guy that he hates everything, so fair enough. Nice gun you got there.
It's not nice. It's a piece of shit. But it gets the job done.
He shrugs. Is it a Belmagrov? What make a rifle is that exactly?
It's a 3-Angong 446.
Continue.
Southeast Samarin made. Exotic. Must be defunct too. No modern rifle manufacturer of that name springs to mind.
Continue.
A Samaran rifle. How did you get hold of one?
Continue.
It was sent to us by our brothers in the Sinyao commune. Military aid.
He pats the rifle. Continue.
It has stayed true to him. He can still make it sing.
Clearly. The Sinyao commune. I do want more information. If you don't mind sharing it, let's find out.
You heard me. It's good now. Like chalk, white from the ball.
His gaze turns inwards. It's good now. And my encyclopedia doesn't have anything to say about that. I wonder if I just failed the check. I don't know. Sometimes when you fail a check, it shows up with a failure, but sometimes it just doesn't happen in the first place. Your weapon has stayed true to you. Mine has stayed true to me, too. Show him the gun in your hand. I suppose it has. I wasn't necessarily true to it, but it was true to me. It served me exceedingly well the 2 times I've fired it in this game. Showing him my gun is a questionable act, but the only other options I've got are to proceed, so let's go ahead and show him.
Yes, I bet you've killed a lot of people with it. You fascist fuck.
His eyes narrow. Continue.
Have you come to make me one of them?
His grip on the rifle tightens. As far as I know, we're at 5 at this point. Or 4? I can't remember if the number 4 came from me mentally adding a tally mark to my ledger without actually doing so. I meant to look at my ledger and see if I could add a tally, not because I'm proud of it, but it's because it's how the ledger works. Continue.
His right eye twitches. With what? Fear? Rage?
Why not both? Continue.
We have come to ask you questions. Nothing more.
The lieutenant puts his hand on his holster, just in case. Continue.
If you do not comply, we will take you in. Do you understand?
Continue. Another spitball lands in the ashes. That's all the answer he gives. I don't believe for an instant that he's going to put down the gun. Of course, this might also be a scenario where if I don't ask him to put down the gun, later on he'll shoot us. But he wouldn't be able to if we made him put down the gun. But why would he obey me, you know? This option makes it seem like I'm granting him lenience, you know? I'll allow you to keep the gun. I don't think he'll appreciate that. I feel like at first reading, it feels like this is the thing to do because you're not insisting he put down the gun, but your attitude in this doesn't seem like it's going to get me anywhere. Maybe I do ask him to put the gun down? He might also insist that we put our guns down, but that might not be so bad. That way nobody gets shot. I feel like I'm okay with that. He's also probably the more experienced hand with a rifle, or rather with a gun in general, so I suspect if it comes down to drawing quickly, we'll lose. But... oh. Either way, I'm making a demand of him. I'm overthinking this, aren't I? He knows I'm with the police. Authority, man, authority. It might just be as simple a question as if he's going to, if we allow him to keep the gun or if we don't, but I also don't know how much difference it's going to make. Because I don't think he's going to pay attention to us asking him to put the gun down anyway. There are two of us and one of him. This seems like one of those situations where I'm going to say this and Kim's going to look at me like, what the heck are you doing? Of course he shouldn't keep the gun. Have I ever hesitated on a single decision this long? I don't even know. This might be the longest. And I don't even know if it makes any difference. Down the gun. Don't move the gun. This is the thing. If he still has the gun, if he decides to shoot one of us, I really don't think we're going to have the speed to stop him, most likely. I recognize just sort of like lionizing this guy's skills with a rifle, but I feel like he's probably very, very good with it, given what he managed to do. Provided, of course, this is him, but basically it has to be. He's the only option. I don't know why he did it. Oh! Hey. I'm going to just go ahead and do that. I don't know if I'm going to need endurance right now, but let's just be in top shape before we proceed, yes? Keep the gun, don't keep the gun. Keep the gun, don't keep the gun. Let's ask him to put him down. I don't like the tone of this one. It may be that he'd find it more agreeable, but I suspect he's going to hate this no matter what we say. Let's ask him to put the gun down. Sir, I need you to put down that gun so we can talk further. We're with the police.
The lieutenant pulls his pistol from the holster.
Uh-huh, continue.
You are a glorified night watchman. This is a service rifle. I can only lay it down before an enemy commander of corresponding rank.
Authority check. Not a very good chance of succeeding there. I am an enemy commander of rank. Put it down. Okay, but keep the gun down while we talk. Kim, turn to the lieutenant. Also, he looks you in the eye in the middle of that. Okay, so he's not putting it down. Right. I don't have the authority for this. Although, technically, I have been informed. Thank you. I can technically boost up my authority in the middle of this. I have the skill points. I could do that. It would probably put me at a 50-something% chance of success. I don't know that it's necessarily going to be enough. I have 5 skill points. Is this worth spending 2 of them? Just suddenly I get way better at this. Somehow. Thinking. Do I have an authority negative still from something in here? I can't remember. I don't know that I do. Maybe I never did. No, I don't think I ever did. Bonus from items, bonus from thoughts. Okay. It's only going to get me up to even odds, but even that is better than nothing. But it's a red check. If I fail, there will be consequences. I've learned this. It will punish me if I try and I fail. 58%. Okay, do it.
The words, "I am an enemy commander," sound cold as iron from your lungs. The old man still hugs his gun.
Continue.
And what rank would that be, dog?
Lieutenant Euphrator, Lieutenant Euphrator, Lieutenant W. Freighter. I'm a Lieutenant W. Freighter. I assume you know what that means.
A big wheel of the 4th Regiment of the Pederast Army. To hell with it. It's a walking stick anyway.
He sighs. Continue.
It's out of bullets.
The old man lays the rifle down carelessly, then stares at it, just lying there. Continue.
Like an amputated limb in the sand.
Continue.
He stares on, his wrinkled mouth moving without a sound. A strange sadness, like a song.
What did you say, or let it be? It was a hard check. I may as well hear what he had to say if he wants to say it.
The future teaches you to be alone.
The present.
The present, or let him say it.
The present, to be afraid and cold.
The old man pulls back the hood of his plastic cape and looks up into the sky. It's blue-gray, the same color as the sea. Those words, the future teaches you. Pick up the gun lying in the sand. Who are you? What have you been using this gun for? That's it for now, old man. Stay put. Let's start with the words.
Real music. Real Brilliant Kult. That's La Revacholière, not your rock and roll misanthropy. Chanson de soldat of the black and whites.
He nods. Continue.
You need to address that remark.
Says authority. I'm not a misanthrope. I'm a half-dead police officer who's just doing his job. What is Revacholier? Understood. Is there any purpose in quibbling over that? He's called me worse than a misanthrope in just recent moments here. Should I really be listening to authority? I mean, it got me this far. He put down the gun because of it. Just doing your job, though, is the worst excuse for doing things. And it also might not let me come back to this menu. This is a check-based thing I can say, which suggests that it might just circle back and I can ask about La Revacholier. I feel like I don't need to address that remark, authority. I'm just going to proceed. What is La Revacholier?
It is the anthem of the world revolution. One of 3.
His eyes remain fixed on the sky. Continue.
In Grad, they sang brave children, favorites of history. And in Sinyao, it was some Samaran shit, I guess.
He struggles to remember, then gives up. La Revacholier. I've heard that name somewhere else, in a dream. How does it go, that song? Thank you for clearing that up. Start here.
Everyone has. They named a fucking perfume after it.
No, that's not it. I've talked to her. Yes, must have been that. Talked to her? La Revacholier? Do we just go ahead and be a crazy person right now, right here? He doesn't have a gun anymore, so it's not... I mean, he never did, it turns out. No bullets. Go ahead and be a crazy person then, I guess.
Talk to her?
He raises his bushy brow and looks down from the sky, straight into your bloodshot eye. Yes, I get these cold spells. Yes, in the church, point southwest. Nothing. We have serious things to talk about. It was in the church. But the fact of the matter is, if I mentioned it was in the church, he's going to assume it was a religious experience, right? Since... But it's La Revacholier, it's the city. I've talked to her elsewhere as well, the cold spells. How much do we want to lean into the fact that I'm a crazy person right here is the thing. Cold spells. The church.
God's shithouse. Should have taken it down like they did in Grad. Dismantled it for firewood.
He chortles. Continue.
All around you, the air slowly circulates the islet, carrying little swallows and black-beaked seagulls in its slow drift. They all, every one of them, every bird, mammal, and crustacean,
They all what?
keep their distance.
How does it go, the song?
How did it go?
He looks at his gun on the ground and shakes his head slowly.
Something about shooting rabbits. I don't know. I can't remember. It doesn't matter. It's gone now.
Continue.
He waves erratically with his hand, annoyed that he can't remember. A little tremor passes through him. It was dear to him. He resents forgetting it.
Who are you?
My name is Josef Lilianovich Dross, Political Commissar of the 114th Anti-Aircraft Division of the 4th Army of the Commune of Revachol.
He looks across the water, then back at you. The Commune of Revachol. The Communist Revolutionaries. Have you been living on this island that entire time, since the revolution? Continue.
I am a deserter, a partisan, and a prisoner of war. This is my termless surrender.
His eyes turn to the reeds again, dead and dull.
The Commune of Revachol? Do you mean the ICM? You're a holdover from the...
The lieutenant forgets to close his mouth. Continue.
From the Insular Indian Citizens Militia, the Army of the Revolution. I was recruited in Jamrock in '07, trained in the École de Contrôle Orient, and consigned to emergency defense duties in '08.
Continue.
I left my unit on the eve of the landing. When I returned here on May 14th, the Commune had fallen. Still armed and ideologically trained, I wrote a criticism of myself and resumed partisan duties.
Wrote a criticism of myself. Continue.
51 minus 8 equals 43.
Sure does. You've been on this island for 43 years? How long have you been on this island?
No. I've been on other islands, too.
He looks into the fire. A wisp of smoke rises from somewhere between the charred logs. Moves from island to island. Stays mobile. To some extent, so no one ever finds him. Continue.
I was in Resurrection until they turned it into a spa in 18. Then I was an E-48, a nameless sound, until the sea washed over it. Then I came back here. That was 22 years ago.
He thinks. Again, you've been hiding here for 43 years? You said you deserted your unit. What is this place, this island? How have you survived all this time? How have you concealed yourself all these years? You said this is your termless surrender. So you're a communist soldier from the communist army? Presumably, yes. Is there a point in repeating that? He just specifically explained. But I guess we're mostly emphasizing the 43 years thing because that is an incredible amount of time to be doing this.
43 years and 10 months.
That's insane. That's steadfast. I don't even know what that is. What are you hoping to accomplish out here? Are you just doing penance for having deserted? For not dying with your comrades? I feel like it's a combination of these two things, and I think he would agree with me in that. Let's see what he has to say about it.
It's inhuman. It's sick. It's not how a human being should live, but I had to. I couldn't just forget. I couldn't just forget what I saw.
He grimaces, clearly in pain. Continue.
He just couldn't.
You couldn't give up.
He nods,
Continue.
but he can now.
Continue.
What have you been doing during all this time?
Hiding, fishing, waiting.
He looks across the water.
Where the afternoon grows late, on Rue de Saint-Ghislain, People walk home. Street lights will soon be lit. Further inland, the streets are alive with workers, men, women, children, street hawks and migrant laborers. The temperature is steady. Alto cumulus clouds form above Precinct 41.
That's a lot more environmental information than I was expecting, Shivers. Continue.
Always waiting.
The old man turns his eyes from the shore and back to you. For what?
For her to return.
The Revacholier? Continue.
Her who?
Girl child. Revolution.
I come from there, point to the mainland. I can assure you that is not what the people are planning. I've been there. The city is a tinderbox. It may still happen. I've seen it. Shake your head. Capital is too powerful. The rich are very well organized. Women will always betray you. Even though she left, fled to save herself, I still want to believe it's possible.
It won't. The material base for an uprising has eroded. The working class has betrayed mankind and themselves.
He blinks his black eyes. Continue.
The historic opportunity for a revolution has passed. It will not come back anymore, however hard I try, whatever I do.
You said you deserted your unit?
I was just 16 years old, 15 when I volunteered. I had a lapse of faith. And of courage, too.
He clears his throat. Lapse of faith.
You could say I misunderstood the historic role of the proletariat and thought Mazovian socioeconomics were fallible. For a second, I doubted the irreducible laws of historic materialism.
Continue?
A second is all it took
For what?
for reaction to take hold.
What's reaction? It wasn't reaction. You were just afraid. And when was this exactly? What is reaction?
Petty bourgeois terror. It's in all men.
I still have the option to say it wasn't reaction. You were just afraid. Is that petty bourgeois terror? Fear of the petty bourgeois? What's the difference? What am I trying to say here?
It's the same thing. You haven't seen it. Not really. Not naked. It's impossible not to be afraid.
Continue.
It remains unclear what it is. He makes leaps he doesn't expect you to follow.
Continue.
And this was when?
Lieutenant instinctively looks to his notebook but does not take it out.
May the 13th, 08. 44 years ago.
He looks north.
The horizon was black with coalition airships. Their petroleum rose to the sky, and it looked like it formed the clouds. Storm clouds. When they started shelling, it was dark magic.
Dark magic. That's enough another thing. No, dark magic?
The combined might of international capital. All at once, all the greed and terror in the world tore into Revachol. It lifted streets from the ground and turned houses into ghosts. We were in the flak tower,
He gestures towards it.
huddled on the floor. The artillery was 80 kilometers away in Ozon, but I knew the commune would fall. We would all be turned into ash. So I said I was going to the map room.
He looks east.
A terrible shame still within him. The lobes of his ears are red with it. The shame and smallness of what he became.
You didn't go to the map room. What then?
No. I climbed the chain link across the water and hid inland, in the bunkers there, like the weakest of the weak. A mouse, frightened at the ordnance all night, and the sound of the rotors in the morning, whirring.
He looks at the sky. What was that, the rotors?
Airships. I climbed out into hell. The landing was complete. The chain was submerged. I had to swim back. The fortress was half submerged too, shattered.
He closes his eyes. Continue.
They'd all drowned in the lower levels, or got torn to shreds above. The anti-aircraft gun had malfunctioned. So had I. I left them without ideological direction. It was real. I'd seen it. I'd seen it in reality.
He opens his eyes and stares right through you. Seen what? That's definitely enough now. No, seen what?
The mask of humanity fall from Capital. It has to take it off to kill everyone, everything you love. All the hope and tenderness in the world. It has to take it off just for 1 second to do the deed.
Continue.
And then you see it, as it strangles and beats your friends to death. The sweetest, most courageous people in the world.
He's silent
You
for a
see
second.
the fear and power in its eyes. Then you know
Know what?
that the bourgeois are not human.
You've lost your mind. I've always suspected the same. That's definitely enough now. Say nothing, let him finish. That one.
I had to. I had to fight it. I had to never stop.
The old man falls silent. His black eyes keep piercing your skin as he looks to some great distance behind you, shaking his head slowly, retreating from it. What is this place, this island?
It's not an island, Dwat. It's a defensive fortification of the commune of Revachol. And I am its last surviving defender.
He looks around. What was it used for?
The congenitally deformed King Philip II built it to restrict access to the Bay of Revachol. We captured it in '02, retrofitted the fort with an AA gun to defend against an airborne landing. Against the whole world.
You mean the landing? Retaking of Revachol? He does, yes.
Coalition military called it Operation Deathblow.
He winces.
I later found out on the radio they called it Deathblow. You're one of them. Tell me, who speaks like that? We had 50 million people on Caillou alone.
First, I'm not one of them. Coalition military. Someone who's come to end this madness. Murderers, I know what you mean. Tell me something else. It's not going to mean anything to him if I try to sympathize. He thinks I am one. And to be fair, I am one. I have killed. But then he has too. He associates me with the moral intern. Because our agency is a branch of it, but it's not as simple as all that. Do I get to come back to this menu and choose another option if I do claim to not be one of them? Does it mean anything? Does it change anything?
Sure you are. You're RCM. Answer me. Who calls an operation against 50 million people Deathblow?
Murderers.
You don't know. You haven't seen it. Iblis.
He shakes his head slowly. Iblis, or understood Iblis. I don't understand. Iblis.
The black-eyed angel.
He nods.
Shaitan Ahura, the darkened one.
How have you survived all this time?
How does anyone survive? I steal.
He looks at his worn running shoes. Continue.
Now hold on there.
That's a choice. You could have become self-employed. Create the system. It's not the time, Rhetoric. What do you steal?
Supplies, vegetables,
He winces.
collect rainwater. It's the life of a dog, not a human being.
He coughs once more, then puts his hand on his belly.
How is your health, Mr. Dross?
I've been throwing up blood since winter. Red, like beetroot. Been passing it in stool, too.
That's not good.
He does seem frail. Gaunt for his age. More like 75 than 65. Trouble putting on weight could mean cancer.
Could. Continue.
The RCM can provide medical services. You need to be looked over.
He doesn't trust us, and you know it, Kim.
I need to die. You don't have medical facilities. You have guns. That's all they give you. Toy guns.
A droll smile stretches across his mouth. We have Druamine and other opioid-based painkillers. You must be in pain. This is a serious situation. You need to be looked over, and we can do it. How have you coped mentally? Thank you for cleaning that up. Do you take painkillers?
I have been running out of that stuff.
A light goes on in his eyes. He smacks his dry lips. You need to be looked over, and we can do it. If you allow it.
There's nothing to look over. The triage is in, and it's black. Administer morphine. Moribund.
He's given up entirely. How have you coped mentally?
I haven't. I have holes in my brain. Years missing. Others filled with pain only. A decade of...
His eyes roll into his skull and back.
I don't even know what. Inferno?
Not appreciatively. I also live in hell. I also have holes in my brain. Point to your head. You notice the lieutenant is about to say something. These are both things that Harry would absolutely say, but Kim's speaking up. I don't know if he'll speak if I go ahead and be a weirdo at this. I want to hear what he has to say.
I would imagine it gets tremendously difficult mentally to live in isolation.
Continue.
Traitors. It's better alone. I watch the people of this city turn the lights back on more and more each year. Ruins, glimmering in the dark, like a fucking merry-go-round.
He nods towards Martinez.
It's disgusting.
He hates everything. He looks down at his shoes. His face parched from the sun and the wind. There's a wince of pain in there somewhere.
Are they not heartbroken? How could they have moved on?
How have you concealed yourself all these years?
It was hard in the Thames. I didn't have partisan training. They were searching for stragglers, those bloodhounds. Floodlights on the water at night.
He shakes his head and closes his eyes.
There were posters, campaigns.
Continue.
We communards still hoped, and they needed to snuff that hope out. The East capitulated. Martinez and Cold City were turned to dust.
He looks south.
But Jamrock, Forburg, even Coron, and Boogie Street, of course. Those fucking kips had Marsoff coursing through their veins.
Continue.
And others too. Some cordons of Revachol was still fighting. There were cells. I tried to contact them.
He shakes his head.
Soon they all went silent. The frequency's dead.
Even the people he considered his ideological allies, he still speaks about them with slurs and disgust. He hates everything now. How did you get between here and the mainland?
At night, I used a dinghy.
Right.
I only went after dark then. When I got to the city, I stayed underground. Patrols, you lot, the commons too. They'd started snitching.
He nods towards the deflated tire in the reeds.
In the city, you move underground?
Apparently.
From bunker to bunker.
He
Not
nods.
anymore. No one cares now. I don't even have to hide. They think I'm another antisocial vagrant. I could walk straight into that town if I wanted.
He falls silent, his gaze fixed on the shacks huddled together under the water, across the water. It's different than under the water. Why don't you just walk there? The weapons cache under Sang's Lane 22B point to it. In the basement. Have you been there? There's a small bunker under the Feld building. Have you stayed there? One more question. Do you smoke Tiomu Tiri cigarettes? Tell me another thing. Why don't you just walk there?
I don't want to. They're all traitors. Pigs, rabbits, and dogs. Men without ideals are only animals.
That's the kind of thinking that makes you name an operation Deathblow. Continue.
He does not want to see life moving on. People forgetting, drinking, laughing.
If he's stuck in so much pain and regret, then how can anybody else be happy? Have you been to the cache under Sungay's Lane 22B?
So you finally found it. There must have been a small squadron's worth of arms in there. Elmer Graves, right?
He looks at you, then pulls the raincoat tighter around his neck. They were damaged beyond use.
I know.
So you've been there?
He has.
Sleeping.
He coughs.
Some nights. Ammo scrounging on others. Those McGraves were shit, even before they corroded. Some had bullets in the chamber, however.
Which is why they didn't when I got there. Continue.
You feel the dots connecting. Little dots on the map he's walked across.
There's a small bunker under the Feld building. Have you stayed there?
The propaganda bunker.
He coughs.
I used to, but not anymore.
Propaganda bunker?
They stored leaflets there. Broadcasting equipment, too. Made broadcasts, I think. Propaganda officers. I buried them with their leaflets. They killed themselves. 2 young boys.
Killed themselves.
A lot of our boys did. I spent some winters there. Never liked it. Kept thinking of them. No need to go underground anymore. It's better in the ruins, on the ground.
He stares at the ruins of the Feld building. One more question. Do you smoke Tiomotiri cigarettes?
I do.
Coughs. Never smoke them on the mainland.
They're good. Plenty of tar. I like that boy on the pack, too. Reminds me of the last century.
He nods. Tell me another thing.
The old man looks across the water, at the city, the ruins, the motorways rising above it.
You said this is your termless surrender.
You're with the RCM. The coalition-appointed mob that enforces bourgeois morals in Revachol. A so-called Lieutenant W. Freighter.
He waves in your general direction. We're not coalition appointed. We just try to help people. That's right, we're with the good guys. We enforce the law. We keep these animals from killing each other. I know what it looks like, but I have secret plans to turn the RCM into a Mazovian revolutionary unit. We're with the RCM. Let's leave it at that. Technically, we're not coalition appointed and they don't fully trust us, but I don't think he's going to see the difference there. Do I try to defend myself? Does it matter?
You're the RCM.
He
You
stares at you
represent
coldly.
the Moralist International. The enemies of humanity who took this city. I represent their adversary, Le Parti communiste dans ce monde.
He stares at you coldly. I don't know if I read that he waved in my general direction when he was saying I was with the RCM. Continue.
Take me to them as a prisoner of war. I have relinquished my weapon. I can no longer serve. No superiors can relieve me of my duty. You bulldoze them all to a mass grave for trying to free humanity.
His hand shakes, and he breaks into a coughing fit.
A spray of blood from his mouth on the black charcoal in the fire pit. Rene, the royalist on the coast, said,
The Communards signed the Revacholian Instrument of Surrender. Before that, tell me. I'm guessing that just takes me back to the previous menu, but... Why is it rhetoric that's bringing that up? Isn't rhetoric supposed to be the most communist of my thought banks? Why would I be trying to tote the words of Rene right now? I can't imagine he'll appreciate it. Fine.
Liberal reactionaries signed that instrument. Traitors who should have been burned alive.
He draws his breath.
I answer to the Communist Party.
Continue.
Is that part of why you've been here all this time? Because the party didn't surrender?
Continue.
he just wipes the blood from his chin.
Honorable. That's insane. Understood.
Honor is a feudal atavism. My motive is class.
He looks at the fire pit. So you're a communist soldier from the communist army.
No, I am not a soldier. I am an ideological officer. I belong to the party, not the army.
But you said you were trained and assigned to the Defense Corps.
Trained in historical materialism, then assigned as a political commissar by the party. These things used to mean something.
He nods. Wait, what does a political commissar do? That means you're a trained communist, right? A trained communist? What does that mean? Wait, so what does a political commissar do?
The old man does not answer. He tilts his silver head and looks at the reeds. You see a small tremor pass through his legs.
Continue.
His job was to assure the army answers to civilian control and follows the ideology of the commune.
The lieutenant says softly.
Scientific communism. A commissaire politique is a night philosopher of the revolution, a future human.
The tracksuit-clad old man is suddenly reanimated.
Awakened from shutdown by the promise of ideology.
Right. Assure the army answers to civilian control and follows the ideology of the commune. So that means you're a trained communist, right?
He nods slowly. Then another tremor.
I'm a revolutionary too. Today, the real revolutionizing is done by entrepreneurs. Ugh. I'm not really into politics myself. Say nothing. If these are my two options, then I choose nothing. He looks away to the sea and lets out a cough. I have another serious question for you. This option appeared halfway through these questions being asked, so I presume this is the last one.
There's nothing serious in this world. It's a farce.
He looks at the gun lying on the ground. Legendary composure check. Assess his body language. Pick up the gun lying in the sand. What have you been using this gun for? What have you been using it for?
I've used it for killing people.
Presumably, yeah.
Killing people?
It's a gun. That's what they're for. You want a moralist euphemism? Defending your family and your property. I haven't done that. I've used it to kill people.
But which people?
Interesting. During or after the war?
Lieutenant nods.
There is no after the war.
I thought he was going to say that.
Class war is never over.
He shakes his head and smiles, his teeth rotten black.
So he's continued killing after hostilities ended. Okay. This is it. You can feel it, like battery acid on the tip of your tongue. Something you haven't felt in a while. But
But what? No time. But what?
this is what you live for. This is the shit.
Is it?
The great serotonin jackpot.
Is it?
The solution.
Continue?
Go in straight. No euphemisms. He doesn't like those.
He doesn't, it's true.
No. Be careful now. Slow and steady does it. Make him repeat it first.
Okay.
Don't mess this up. Remember, he wants to tell you. Get personal.
So you're saying you killed people after active fighting stopped. Did you use that gun to shoot and kill the colonel of the security contractor Crenell? I know you want to tell me. Have you killed anyone with that gun in the last week or two? Wait, so which one do I say then? Too many parts of my brain squabbling for how to handle this next part. It's a wait option, though. Let's see what it has to say.
Nothing comes to you. Silence. His black eyes look at you.
Did I just choose none of them? It was a wait option. I'm betrayed. Continue.
And in them, a chill, like electricity running up your spine, crawling into your skull.
What?
All is not as it seems.
What do you mean? What do you mean? Continue.
Detective.
The lieutenant turns to you with well-disguised impatience. All is not as it seems, says Shivers. What does that mean? Okay, we're back to this menu. Okay. Known euphemisms, he doesn't like those. The solution. Slow and steady, make him repeat it. Don't mess this up. Remember, he wants to tell you. Get personal. That's suggestion talking, actually. Well, who told me to repeat it? Hand-eye coordination. Be careful now. So you're saying you killed people after active fighting stopped?
What did I just say?
He keeps shaking his head, erratically suddenly. He brushes something out of his eye.
What did I just tell you? Don't drop the ball now.
Going straight, no euphemisms. That's what you told me. Did you use that gun to shoot and kill a colonel of the security contractor Crenell?
The who now?
He leans in and cups his ear.
He heard you. He just wants to hear you say it again. This is dramatic flair on his part. Right choice. We're in. Do it, sire.
The corpse in ceramic armor, hanging behind the whirling in rags. Did you shoot him? The fascist death squad who took a bullet in the mouth on the night of March 4th. His name was Ellis Cortiner. He was part of a security detail here in Martinez. A beautiful, strong man sent here by the Honorable Private Military Company Crenell. You know who I mean. I tell you what, this game is amazing at making every single tiny decision feel like everything about it matters. I don't necessarily want to get political about it. This is the fascist option. Presumably. This is, I assume, the communist option. This is humanizing the victim. This is objectifying the victim. This is refusing to rise to his bait. His name was Ellis Courtnair. I'm pronouncing his name wrong. But this is who he was.
Oh, yes. That one. Ugly piece of work, that boy.
He looks up at the sky and clacks his tongue.
Did you kill him?
Lieutenant takes a sudden step toward him.
I am a son of a welder and an officer of the commune of Revachol. I do not collaborate with murderers and pederasts of the liberal regime.
He spits a big one at the lieutenant's feet. Continue.
A drop of blood in the saliva.
Continue.
Exhaust him with proof. Pile it all on him. Get a confession.
New task. Extract a confession from the deserter. You need at least 3 examples of proof to show that you have him anyway. There is little point in his resistance.
The scent of blood in the air. But what else? There was something you can't remember.
Like what?
Something about the tracks. Suddenly, all those tracks are so confusing. Go with something else first.
We've done the ballistics. Point to the tower. The shot came from this island. You're a communist. I talked to the dead man. He told me communism killed him. Come on, what am I forgetting? Hit yourself on the side of the head. Okay, let's back off for a moment. Tell me this. Should I have picked up the gun before doing this? Does it matter? Can I actually circle back to this? I want to pick up the gun. Suddenly it is worrying me. I don't know why. Can I?
You lost, Dwat. You lost.
He shakes his head, tufts of gray-white hair on his skull and chin. Okay. Pick up the gun.
His gaze follows your motions. The rifle feels surprisingly light in your hand. Frame stocked and patched in places with tape and wire.
Continue.
Still warm from his parched hands. Not the metal. The metal is ice cold. This weapon has been modified several times.
Inspect it closer. This rifle has been patched and modified several times. Inspect it.
The rifle's in a shabby state, like a crutch that's seen too much travel. Hieroglyphs are embossed into the forearm, made of walnut.
Continue.
On the butt, you see Vespertine writing, burnt into the wood. Triangong, 4.46mm, made in Sinyao.
It's as he said. It's a Triangong made in Sinyao.
No one said it has to be a Belmagrave. We were just guessing.
The lieutenant does not take his eyes off the old man.
From ballistics, it could easily have been a Triangong, too.
Right.
It doesn't matter if it was made in Shanti Shanti. All it has to do is use jacketed ammunition. And it does.
Which is the next point I can make. This uses jacketed ammunition, 4.46.
The right type and the right calibre.
The lieutenant nods, glancing at the gun.
He's liking this.
The rifle has been patched and modified several times.
I wonder how old it is.
You could ask the guy who's sitting right there.
The old man does not answer. He just stares in front of him.
Stow the gun.
The old man keeps following your motion with his gaze. His right arm twitches suddenly.
Continue.
Some kind of involuntary response? Something is slightly off with his motorings.
Continue.
This looked very much like the murder weapon. It can be used against him later.
Yeah. Okay. The composure check, +1 disturbed motorics. Okay, okay. Let's work on the confession. One more time, Mr. Dross. The Colonel, we need to talk about you killing him.
Petty bourgeois law.
He snorts and spits.
This is all you care about, right? The only thing in the world for you types.
Continue.
A drop of blood in the saliva.
Now we're back around to that.
That's right. Pile it all on him now. 3 should do it. Maybe 4.
Okay. We've done the ballistics. Point to the tower. The shot came from this island.
I saw you poking around there, looking for evidence. You're damn diligent when it comes to dead fascies. Did you like the view?
A jitter passes him. Continue.
You had direct visibility. There are embrasures in the concrete, specifically meant for a top follower to use. And you had a long-range rifle in your possession.
Lieutenant softens his voice.
You've been here a long time, Mr. Dross. Too long. You clearly need medical aid.
Continue.
I'm ready to die. I've done my part.
The man interrupts him, then coughs.
He's practically admitting to it. Dead fascists for fascists. Done his part.
You said fascies? You're admitting you killed him? It's the best uninterrupted light of sight into that window in all of Martinez. The view was perfect. With a pair of binoculars I could have seen in the room. Seems like we're jumping the gun if we're going to just go ahead to seeing if he will admit to it. Right here.
You're sad for your fascia brother, aren't you? One twig got broken. Now the others are sad.
He waves his hand. There's a twitch, then one more one in his right eye. Then one more in his right eye. I think it's just an extra. Whatever, it's fine. Hang on, back to
I
that.
saw you.
You
Back to
had
that,
direct.
back to that,
You've been
back to that.
Red.
He's practically admitting to it.
The
Dead fascists for fascists. Done his part.
The view was... That seems creepy to say, put it that way, though, doesn't it? Best uninterrupted line of sight into that window in all of Martinez. Let's go with that.
Because it's a sniper's nest, you stupid fuck. Radio Gosh is right. You have worms in your brain.
Another sudden twitch. Then one in his right eye again. I don't need your cooperation. I've got this. Show him the Triangung 446.
Not a lot of guns around that use military-grade ammunition, are there?
No.
It's a real gun. Not like your little musketeer pistol. I've seen you prance around with that. Jumping hoops for the liberals.
He points to your sidearm. Continue.
You look like imbeciles. Why don't you ask them to give you real weapons? Going against automatic rifles with these toy guns. Of course you got those boys killed.
He chortles, talking about the people who died in the confrontation 2 days ago.
Damn, he saw you. He's watched it happen.
Presumably, yes.
He would have a good view of the tribunal from here. It's not just empty boasting.
I didn't think it was.
So he saw you. Okay. So what? Don't let it divert you.
We saved a lot of them. Their leader Titus. We handled that situation. Stop changing the subject. We have the murder weapon. Point to it. Okay, then, concede. Don't let it divert you. If I take morale damage, I take morale damage. I have so many drugs. We saved 3 of them. I don't know if that counts as a lot of them. Just ignore him. Stop changing the subject. We have the murder weapon.
You know what? You're right. I'm convinced this made the shot. Should we call it?
The lieutenant looks at the weapon demonstratively. Dramatically asks, you think we have the murder weapon? I'm calling it. We have the murder weapon. Dramatically ask. Sure.
4.46 jacketed ammunition, modified for range. We have it. This is it.
He lists. I'm calling it. We have the murder weapon.
Good.
The lieutenant takes out his notebook and draws a single line. Continue.
This feels good, doesn't it? Tearing things up like this. When you have the murder weapon, you have the killer.
Under the current circumstances, that does seem likely, but the city has warned me things are not as they seem. I don't know what to think about that. Continue.
Murder.
The old man does not say more. He just glances into the reeds and then twitches once more. That's the crazy person option here, clearly. I still haven't remembered the thing that I'm forgetting, though. Tracks. Something with tracks. Hit yourself on the side of your head. Very confidence-inspiring.
Wait, here it comes. The goddamn Maybells. The dried Maybells on Clausia's roof.
Oh, yes? Oh, yes! My head hurts now. Yes?
There were Maybells in the grass when you got here, and Maybells on Clausia's balcony.
I see. Continue.
And nowhere else. Nowhere in all of Martinez have you seen them.
That's a good point. Continue.
Wait, don't forget the footprints. The diagonal prints in the dust in the secret space behind Clausia's bedroom. Now, they're gonna come up.
Of course. Thank you, Head. Thank you. Ow.
You got it. Remember? The boot prints were like no modern soul.
He's been wearing the same boots for 43 years? How are they still working at all? Continue.
Maybe don't beat yourself anymore, though. You're not immortal.
Fair enough, Endurance. Maybells. Behind the victim's window. I saw them growing here. Point to them. I wonder what brand of boots you're wearing. Maybells.
Damn Maybells. The whole island is turning white with them.
He looks at the blossoming field.
He seems tender suddenly. Nostalgic even. A strange mood swing.
It is that. Continue.
So many this year, too. The spring is coming. No, it's already here. Wash the filth away.
I haven't seen these flowers anywhere else in Martinez, only here. A young woman called Clausia. Ring any bells? Flowers like these were behind her window. Let's start with this.
They blossom on the islets before. We fertilized them with our blood. Resurrection was snow white in May, before they ruined it.
He looks to the water.
South, the Bay of Martinez is dotted with little freckles of islets, turning green, with white flowers in white snow.
Continue.
The coast, too, before they piled their containers on top of it, filled with broken, useless trash for fat-fingered bourgeois children to play with.
Continue.
You must get around a lot to stay undetected all these years. Do you know any secret paths? Pinball workshops?
The lieutenant's voice is soft, friendly.
I may.
A curious tremor passes his face. All right, a young woman called Clausia. Ring any bells? Flowers like these were behind her window.
Clausia.
You know her, right? She had intimate relations with the victim, the mercenary.
With the victim.
He turns his sight from the whitening field of flowers and falls silent. Then the muscles in his jaw twitch, a spasm. Continue.
There is a small tremble. Looks like a smile. A crooked smile. Yet isn't quite voluntary. He's about to burst.
Burst. Continue.
Don't leave any loose ends. Get him on everything.
Right, okay. I wonder what brand of boots you're wearing?
Everything is brands with you individualists. Who cares what brand my shoes are? Sansa? Some shit.
He looks at his running shoes covered in mud.
Show me the soles, please, Mr. Dollars.
Continue.
Fucking imbecile.
The old man stretches out his leg. A black and white spiral pattern covers the sole of the worn-out running shoes on his feet.
The maker is Sensorique. The model is Corbeil, and the size is 43.
Continue.
These are not the unusual horizontal patterned soles you saw in the dust on the floor of the hidden room. They do, however, seem to be about the same size.
That's not much in the way of evidence, but okay, continue.
The size fits, but not the sole.
The lieutenant comes to the same conclusion. Drama, easy 9. Wait, maybe it's simpler than that. Who cares about shoes? We got you without the prints, too. An easy drama check? Drama's lying, though. Usually. Do we just say that they are the tracks he left in there? He won't fall for that, will he? I have a high chance of success, though. I guess just do it.
Sire, he doesn't have to be wearing them right now.
I mean, obviously, why did that take a drama check? It was a critical success. Don't waste your rolls on that. People change shoes. It doesn't mean you weren't there, near the room the victim died in, sneaking around.
Racking those brains, are you? Desperate to report something back to your masters? They must have really loved that dead fuck.
He squints at you, black pearls gleaming with hatred. I mean, it's not so much that I need to report something. I mean, I do need to report back to them, yes, but it's to try and stop a war, but it's not like you care. You're ready to die, and you don't care if anybody else dies as well at this point, I don't think. Is there anyone you don't hate? Continue.
The lieutenant gives you a quick sideways glance and nods to acknowledge.
Continue.
The prints were his. You can see it in those eyes. He can't keep them from flickering, looking for something.
Looking for something. Continue.
The old man stares at his own prints in the ash around the fire. Silent suddenly, some strange process within him. A gush of wind. Seagulls in the distance.
This sounds like a Shivers thought. Do you get them as well? Continue.
You know who he was. A coalition-trained murderer. Armored and armed. He wasn't human. The blunt end of a hammer. Dripping with blood.
He suddenly jerks to life. He was a rapist. I'm not saying he didn't deserve it. He was a killer, but he was still under the protection of the law. He was a soldier too. He was a man. What do you say in a situation like this? He was a man. He was also a monster. Does... Like, I'm torn because on the one hand, yes, this man was awful. But on the other hand, you dehumanize your targets in the same way that you criticize others for dehumanizing your forces. Like, but I mean, I'm not going to make you see reason on that. Does it matter what I say? He hates me no matter what. I think as much disdain as I feel for the mercenaries, I think I have to say this. He wasn't a hammer. He was a man. You can make arguments about whether he deserved to die or not. But he was a man.
Beating us to the ground, moaning with joy. You hounds get so thorough when a company-trained killer dies. I haven't seen you on this coast for 40 years. You know, maybe I should have killed one sooner.
He breathes in with strange animation. Continue.
Got your attention. Now you stop beating druggies and prostitutes in your basement. Now you come to investigate. Not when they die by the hundreds.
He looks you dead in the eye, pupils shaking, and breathes through flared nostrils.
This is it. Shot him. Shot him. Say shot him, not killed him.
I don't understand why, Rhetoric, but I suppose... You shot him. Okay, okay. So you shot him.
Oh, the inhumanity. One paramilitary less in Revachol.
He closes his black eyes. You can almost see him squeeze a tear out of his eye. His fists begin to tremble from the anger.
The lieutenant raises his right arm to hush you,
Continue.
while the lieutenant listens, holding his breath.
Just nod. Hold your breath. How did you? Everyone hold breath. No breathing. Just listen.
I had them in my sights. Both of them. Him and the whore. I was breathing with them, in phase. And I pulled the trigger and flew on the air until I landed in his mouth.
He begins to smile.
I didn't think I had a shot like that in me anymore. I did. I saw him kneel there with his mouth full of death. And that stupid look on his face.
The smile quivers.
And his dick still in her.
Then what?
Nothing. I went to sleep. Next morning there were Maybells everywhere. The world was white. Or what's left of it, anyway. My last spring here. I knew the fascists would come to avenge their own.
Continue.
And so they did.
Mr. Dross, are you aware you're confessing to murder?
The lieutenant asks after a second of silence.
Yes.
A single word is all he gives.
And you were looking at them, the victim and a young woman, having sex, through the scope of your rifle that night, before you shot him?
The lieutenant takes out his notebook slowly. Very slowly.
The old man nods.
Why?
I wanted to know that too. What drove you to finally kill someone on the mainland? What was different this time?
Because that's what they were doing.
He shrugs and smacks his lips.
The motive. This is where the motive is going to come from.
Right.
I don't understand. Do you, detective? I don't understand this part.
He turns to you. Why were you looking at them that night?
I'm always looking.
He cocks his head to the side, then turns his eyes to the city. Another tremor passes his right side, lower in intensity.
Are you always looking through the scope of a rifle? I'm just trying to understand.
He explains.
A rifle scope has the best magnification.
Okay, continue.
And if you don't like it?
You kill someone.
Click.
You pull the trigger.
Yes. Think of it as a form of critique.
He looks you in the eye. Continue.
He will not stop now. These dialectical materialist types never do. Exploit it.
Continue.
You got him going. Connect every little piece now. Wrap this up like a gift.
Okay, this is incredibly stupid and I recognize it. We're nearly done here, but I have a suspicion that once we're done here, this is going to be the end of the game, so this is going to be weird, I know, but I actually don't have time to continue recording right now, so I'm going to see if I can leave this conversation. That's it for old man, stay put.
I ain't going anywhere.
Neither am I. We're just going to have to get back to this next session, which is, I recognize this is stupid. I'm really sorry to do this in the middle of the climax of the game, but we've been going for 2 hours now, and I don't know how much further it's going, so I have to break it off here. I'm terribly sorry. I need to eat dinner and then do a stream. So, like, forgive me, we will finish this next time, I'd imagine. Thank you for watching. See you soon.